I am Gemma, and I never believed in love or marriage. My parents' relationship never showed genuine affection and pure intentions. They were together just for the sake of us, their children. They don't want us to grow up in a broken family, but I wish it had happened that way. Both of my parents were present physically but absent emotionally. Their constant fights drew me back away from them. I saw how they hated each other and were only forced to be together for the sake of us, and it sucks. And I want to avoid following in their footsteps. That is why I vowed to myself that I would never fall in love because love is nonsense, and then I was right. And right before I entered high school, my parents decided to divorce because they realized that their relationship was not working out at all, and the only reason they stayed us, their kids, was not enough for them to stay. My father won my custody and I liked him more, so I stayed with him. He was also one of the people that influenced me with this kind of ideology about not wanting to get married. He told me I do not need a man to succeed and enjoy life. I must learn to love myself when I remember that I will be enough. I followed his advice and it worked for me for a time. Multiple guys tried to date me and even confessed their feelings towards me, but I completely ignored them. I just focused on myself, my growth, and my studies. I enjoyed my youth, lived my life to the fullest, and even experienced the things that changed the course of my life. All the while living my life, I also excelled in my academics. I was leading our class, and this resulted from my not engaging in love as early on. Also, I was very active in school, especially in the student council and sports. Because of that, I got a scholarship from a prestigious university and enrolled in my dream school. While I was in college, my parents were still supportive of all decisions, although they were already separated. I entered college with the same ideology, mindset, and goals as in high school, but I never knew it would change so quickly. From the moment Harold and I met in college, there was an instant connection. He was my classmate and the first friend I made during my first weeks at the university. At first, our friendship was solid until our bond grew deeper and deeper. I realized that I couldn't live a day without him. I couldn't stay still whenever I couldn't see his face, and I couldn't contain the emotions I felt whenever I was with him. That is when I knew I was in love, and he confessed to me that he also felt the same way. We fell in love quickly and our relationship blossomed into something beautiful. He courted me and of course I accepted him. I never knew that I would break my own rules for this man. He was caring, intelligent, responsible, talented, and emotionally mature. I never knew I would fall in love because I was so confident and firm with my decision that I would never engage in relationships. But here I am, a completely different Gemma in love and filled with happiness. After graduation, I immediately applied for a job and was very lucky to land a good position in a corporate company. Harold was able to start his dream business and I supported him all the way. After 3 years of dating, we finally decided to get married, seal the vow, profess our cum, and start a family together. Harold and I were pleased and content with our life. On top of that, we were immediately blessed with two angels. Our early years were filled with happiness and laughter as we raised our two children. To most people, we were indeed an embodiment of a happy family. And it is true, both Harold and I are treating each other very well. We are also working hard to provide for our children's needs, doing our best to make a healthy and nurturing environment for our kids. And the two of us are deeply in love with each other. I am proud to say that I am in a peaceful, safe, and loving relationship with my loving, supportive, understanding, loyal, hardworking husband. However, I thought everything was perfect. Harold changed my perspective of relationships and marriage because he showed me the good side of it. It is best to say that I was being fooled, or I just fell hard for the deceiving beauty of love and I overlooked its bad and negative connotations. As the years passed, I couldn't help but notice the changes in my husband. He became distant, preoccupied with work and other activities. Our once passionate love seemed to dwindle, and I felt like I was slowly losing him. I tried to confront him, but he brushed off my concerns, claiming he was just stressed with work. One evening, after putting the kids to bed, I mustered the courage to confront my husband. My heart was pounding and my palms were sweaty. I was so nervous about how this confrontation would end, but I knew it was time to face the truth head on. As I entered the living room where he was sitting, I saw him doing something on his phone. So I took a deep breath and began. "Honey, we need to talk. We can't keep ignoring what's happening between us." He looked up and put his phone aside, and his face was confused.
"What are you talking about, Gemma?"
I was taken aback because he didn't call me by our sweet endearments. I remained calm and collected by steadying my voice. "You know exactly what I'm talking about. I have noticed the late night calls, the secretive text messages. I can't help but see all of these subtle signs. So let me ask you this. Are you having an affair?" He got so defensive.
"Don't be ridiculous. How could you even think such a thing? Why are you accusing me of that kind of thing? You're being delusional, and I've been busy with work. You're overreacting."
"Harold, I'm not blind. I have seen the signs and I deserve the truth. Please don't insult my intelligence by denying it."
"I can't believe you're accusing me like this. You're paranoid, Gemma, and it's driving us apart."
I'm trying my best to hold back my tears. I don't want to appear weak. No, Harold, your actions are driving us apart. I have tried to ignore it, hoping it would disappear, but it's tearing me apart. I need honesty from you.
If you weren't so distant all the time, I wouldn't have needed to ignore you as well.
Distant? I've been trying to connect with you and you have been pushing me away. You stopped communicating with me a long time ago.
That's not true. You've changed, Gemma. You're not the woman I married anymore.
Maybe I have changed. The years of feeling unappreciated and disrespected have taken their toll on me, but that doesn't justify what you have done.
Oh, spare me the drama. You're blowing this out of proportion. I'm tired of your nagging and your constant need for attention.
I don't nag, Harold. I'm trying to save our marriage and it takes two people to make it work. I deserve respect, loyalty, and love just like anyone else.
Well, maybe you don't deserve anything. If you can't handle it, then perhaps we should end this.
Is that what you want, Harold? To throw away everything we have built together?
I don't know anymore. I need space to think.
Fine. Take your space, but remember, our children deserve better than this. They deserve a father who respects their mother and a role model who shows them what love truly means. Harold stormed off, leaving me in tears and filled with emotions. His denial and anger only confirmed what I already knew in my heart. As much as it hurt, I couldn't force him to change or admit his mistakes. I realized I needed to focus on my well-being and our children, even if it meant facing the painful truth alone. And after a few months after that confrontation, my husband blatantly revealed to me his affair with one of his employees, Diane. I was hurt because he told me about it as if he only showed me good news. He was not even bothered about what I would feel.
Diane is my girlfriend. I like her, and your existence won't stop me from dating her. Just look at her. She's sexy and pretty. Unlike you, you're ragging and sagging. You're slowly becoming old and, well, ugly.
I couldn't help but cry from his remarks. I was right all along. The truth of Harold's affair with Diane unfolded gradually, piece by painful piece. It started with slight, subtle hints, late-night phone calls. He quickly ended when I walked into the room, secretive text messages that he would promptly delete. I tried to ignore the signs, hoping against hope that I was mistaken, that my suspicions were baseless. But deep down, I knew something was amiss. One day, I stumbled upon a receipt for an extravagant gift not meant for me. My heart sank as I realized it was for Diane, and it was then that my world began to crumble. He is giving all his towards her and slowly neglecting his own family. My struggles grew more intense as I tried to accept the betrayal. I grappled with a whirlwind of emotion, hurt, anger, and confusion. I couldn't fathom how Harold could throw away our years of love and commitment for someone else. Yet, I couldn't bring myself to end things with him. I am thinking about the pain that my children would experience, the same level of pain that I experienced when my parents separated. The fear of shattering our family, of tearing our children apart, kept me silent. I endured his callous remarks about Diane, how she made him feel alive again, as though our years together meant nothing. And it feels like I'm living in my parents' failed marriage, and that hurt me the most. I tried to guard myself against this moment, but I let my walls down and allowed Harold to enter my life. And look at what he did. He ruined me. He destroyed our family. I sought solace in friends and family, pouring my heart out to those I trusted. They advised me to divorce Harold, to demand answers and respect, but every time I tried to do it, the words stuck in my throat and I retreated into my shell. But I realized I'm still Gemma, the intelligent, courageous, and independent woman. I knew I couldn't confront him directly. He was too adept at twisting the truth and manipulating me into feeling guilty. So I devised a plan secretly, taking small steps towards my revenge. I opened a new bank account, seeking financial independence to protect myself and my children. As I charged all expenses to our shared account, I felt empowered, knowing he would be the one left to deal with the financial consequences. The struggle to control my emotions was real, but I had to remain composed, especially in front of the kids. One day he confronted me, bringing his luggage items with him. My heart skipped a bit. Is he going to leave? What about the children? I complied with whatever he said. I kept quiet so he could stay with us because I didn't want the children to live in a broken household. I swallowed my pride for almost everything. But instead, he threatened me with a divorce, demanding my money and trying to push me into submission. And that's when I made my move. He told me that he was going on an overseas trip with the love of his life and that they would spend and celebrate their anniversary in Hawaii. The audacity of this man. He had some thick skin on his face. I couldn't stand his arrogance and disrespectful behavior any longer. My children and I deserved better. So handling him the account details, I watched as he and Diane flew off to Hawaii, thinking they were about to enjoy the spoils of their deception. But little did they know that their paradise was about to become a nightmare. As Harold discovered his emptied account and overwhelming debts, panic and desperation consumed him. He called me pleading for help, but I stood firm, holding the divorce papers as a testament to my newfound strength.
I know I messed up, Gemma. I made a terrible mistake, and I'm sorry. I'll end things with Diane, I promise. Just give me another chance.
Harold, you have had plenty of chances. You chose to disrespect our marriage and our family. I can't forget what you did, and I can't trust you anymore.
Please, I don't want to lose you. I love you, Gemma, and I love our kids. I made a stupid mistake, but I can change. We can work on this together.
I wish you had thought about that before you betrayed me. I have spent years trying to make this marriage work, but I can't do it alone anymore. I deserve better.
I know. I was a fool, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right.
It's too late for that, Harold. You had your chance and you chose to throw it away. I can't live with constant doubt and uncertainty, wondering if you will ever hurt me again.
Please, Gemma, think about our kids. They need both of us together. We can go to counseling. We can work through this.
I have already made my decision, Harold. I have been living with this pain for too long, and it's time for me to put myself and the kids first. You deserve this because you did this to yourself. Own up to your mistakes and suffer the consequences.
I'm sorry.
I know you are, but that won't change what happened. Just leave us alone. I signed the papers with a heavy heart, feeling a mixture of sadness and triumph. I had taken my revenge, and while it might not undo the pain he caused me, it was a step towards healing and rebuilding my life. In the aftermath, I embraced my struggles and grew from them. I learned I was more vital than ever imagined and deserved respect and happiness. My children may never fully understand the depths of our ordeal, but I knew that by breaking free from a toxic relationship, I was giving them a chance to witness the resilience and courage of their mother. Though the scars of this chapter in my life would remain, they reminded me of the strength I found within myself. As I moved forward, I embraced the uncertainty of the future with hope and determination, ready to embark on a new journey where I was the author of my own story. In the aftermath of the divorce, life was challenging, but I was determined to create a new path for myself and my children. The wounds from the betrayal were still fresh, but I refused to let them define me. Instead, I focused on healing and rebuilding my life step by step. One of the most formidable hurdles was explaining the situation to our children. I knew I couldn't shield them from the truth forever, but I wanted to protect them from the harsh reality until they were old enough to understand. I spoke to them with love and gentleness, carefully choosing my words to avoid unnecessary pain. Though it was difficult, they surprised me with their resilience and understanding. As time passed, I discovered an inner strength I hadn't known existed. I threw myself into new hobbies and interests, reconnecting with old friends and making new ones. Slowly, I rebuilt my support network, leaning on those who stood by me during my darkest days. In self-discovery, I found a passion for helping others who had experienced similar heartbreak and betrayal. I started attending support groups and counseling sessions where I could share my story and offer a listening ear to those who needed it. Turning my pain into a source of strength and empathy was cathartic. On the other hand, Harold had to face the consequences of his actions. The debt he incurred and the repercussions of his arrogance came crashing down on him like a tidal wave. While I took no pleasure in his struggles, it was a humbling experience for him. I hoped that through this ordeal, he would understand the pain he had caused others and, more importantly, himself. As the years passed, I became more comfortable with my newfound independence. The scars from the past began to fade, and I started to find happiness in the little things. The love and laughter of my children became my driving force, and I was determined to create a loving, stable home for them. Through it all, I never lost sight of the importance of forgiveness and letting go. Holding on to bitterness and anger would only weigh me down, so I worked on forgiving Harold not for his sake, but for my peace of mind. It was a process that required time and patience, but it was worth it. In time, Harold and I settled into a civil co-parenting relationship. Our interactions were cordial and centered around our children's well-being. I no longer needed to seek revenge. The best revenge was living a happy and fulfilled life without him. My journey was far from easy, and there were moments when I stumbled and doubted myself. And with the support of my loved ones and the strength I discovered within, I overcame every obstacle in my path. Looking back, I realized that the betrayal and humiliation I endured had been a catalyst for personal growth. It taught me the value of self-respect, the power of resilience, and the beauty of embracing life's uncertainties. While I wouldn't wish such pain on anyone, I couldn't deny that it had shaped me into the person I had become. Today, I stand tall as a survivor of a broken marriage and my doubts and fears. I am grateful for the lessons learned and the second chance at happiness that life has given me. As I move forward, I do so with hope, grace, and the knowledge that I am the author of my destiny, and that, my friends, is the real triumph of my story.